Hi everybody, my name is Christiana Giblet. This is going to be my presentation on Zero Trust Architecture for my Computer Security Cyber 332 class with Dr. Musobi at Metro State University. Disclaimer, this is for educational purposes only. In my presentation, I'm going to go over what is Zero Trust, the benefits and challenges of implementing Zero Trust policy, and how it can be applied using role-based access control. And I'm also going to go over a real-life company that uses role-based access control and Zero Trust, which is the company is going to be Microsoft. And then I'm going to show a demo on how to apply Zero Trust on your computer using a simple Mac demonstration. And then I'm just gonna go over my conclusion and stuff. Okay, let's get started. So Zero Trust is built on a simple idea of never trust, always verify. This means that whoever you are, no matter where you are within the network, you're always being verified, you're always being authenticated, you're always being held accountable for whatever actions, whatever access that you have to stuff. You're always being checked and rechecked and continuously monitored throughout the system. How this works is, imagine at your house, if you have a smart lock, once you enter the house, you're not automatically gonna gain access to every room. Whatever room you want access to, you're gonna have to be checked and verified, and they're gonna have to keep rechecking. Just because you're in the house doesn't mean you automatically have access to everything, if that makes sense. Another thing that Zero Trust does is applies microsegmentation to the network, so it limits the movement that you have within the network. And one important thing about Zero Trust is that it's not a single tool that you use. It's a strategy that a company applies to improve their security. It's not just one thing, it's a couple of different technologies that work together to accomplish what you need. We're going to go to the core principles. Zero Trust has 3 core principles. They're to verify continuously, to enforce least privilege, and to assume breach. So what this means is that for the first one, it's pretty self-explanatory. To verify continuously just means that wherever you're going within the system, it's been checked. You're always being authenticated to do whatever you need to do to access whatever file you need to access. You're continuously being authenticated. Applying least privilege means that you are granted only what you need, nothing more, nothing less. If you work in the HR department, you only have access to HR files. You're not going to have access to the marketing department. You're not going to have access to the interns, what they do. You're not going to have access to those type of stuff because that's not your role, that's not your job. So you only have access to what you need. Assume breach. This means that they're basically treating the system as is already been compromised. So you're monitoring if there's anything strange going on. You're preparing how to respond if anything does go wrong. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the pros and the cons. As with anything that has the negatives and they have their positives. We're going to talk about the benefits of implementing Zero Trust model into your system, and we're going to talk about the challenges that comes with it also. For the benefits is, of course, it causes enhanced security. Using this model is going to make sure it's much safer than the traditional security model. It's going to make sure like your security is improved. It provides real-time visibility and audit logs. This means that like in real time, your every action that you take while using the network is going to be monitored and is going to be tracked. So that's going to help keep everybody accountable. It helps with insider threat reduction because it doesn't automatically trust anybody. Even if you're an employee at this company, you're still going to be checked. You're still going to be verified for whatever you do. So this definitely limits, employees trying to hurt the company from within. It has amazing scalability. It supports remote and cloud services. So this could be this model could be set up to be accessed from anywhere remotely. As with anything, it has its challenges, of course. One of the challenges is the high configuration costs. So basically, it's very expensive to be implemented, but I feel like the benefits kind of outweighs, the cost of it. Because of course, whatever company you have, you want to keep it safe and you want to keep it secure. So you're gonna have to spend the money, It has a very complex implementation because I'm guessing like a lot of companies nowadays, if you're not already using the zero trust model, whatever system you're using, it's going to be hard to kind of implement the new model into it. Because as I said previously, zero trust is not just one tool that you just implement within the system. So it's a whole like mindset change, a whole cultural change. You have to implement a whole different way of doing things within your company. This is of course gonna impact the user experience. I mean, it could be in a positive way, as in like it's gonna keep everything more secure, but it could definitely impact how everybody's using the system because you're gonna have to get used to a whole new way of doing things and like probably constantly having to put in different passwords and usernames and stuff like that. And it's gonna be hard to integrate within your system with the existing tools that's already there. Okay, so how can we apply zero trust in real life? One practical tool that can be used is called Role-Based Access Control, RBAC for short. This is a practical tool that puts zero trust principle into action by controlling who can do what, where, and when. It's based on roles and not assumptions. What this means is that within companies, we all have our roles and stuff, like marketing department, accounting, HR, payroll. Everybody have their own duties and their jobs to do, and this needs to be separated for security purposes. So a person in marketing doesn't need access to anything in HR because that doesn't have anything to do with marketing. The same thing, accounting person doesn't have anything to do with payroll because, they might, but usually we try to keep that separated. Okay, I'm gonna go over how role-based access control works using the 3 core principles of zero trust. The first one is it enforces least privileges. So this minimizes the exposures by like ensuring each users only have access to what they need to do their jobs. So HR only needs HR stuff. Marketing only needs marketing stuff. Nothing more, nothing less. It verifies access continuously. Role-based access control works by limiting what like the verified users can access. Like even after you're being authenticated, it's still like you still have controls on what you can use and what you can't use. Sometimes it even has like time limits on stuff, like what times you can do stuff. and it minimizes lateral movements. So going back to how one of the principles is assuming breach, it reduces a company that uses zero trust in real life is Microsoft. They started using the transition a decade ago. They were driven by the rise of mobile working and cloud services. Their key practices is identity at its core. Every request is verified with multi-factor authentication. It has conditional access policies and race-based signals. They use role-based access control and just-in-time access. The just-in-time access basically means that there are time scopes that employees have, so you can't just have access like 24 hours a day. Whatever job you need to do, maybe you can do it from 8 to 9 or from 9 to 5, and then your access is done. And you're gonna have to be like re-verified to be able to access that thing again. It has the same principles, of course, continuous monitoring, and the results from this has been like reduced lateral movements, faster breach detection, and improved compliance posture. So zero trust still helps you be able to stay compliant with data laws and ethical laws and whatnot. Okay, so from our demo, I'm gonna show how you can create users from simulating different roles. I'm gonna create an intern user and an HR user, and then create files for those users and add permissions to those files about who can access and who can do what within those files. So we're gonna get started. This is me creating the intern user. We're just gonna put that in, put in the names, and then put in the password, verify the password, and then create the user. And then we're gonna do that again for the HR user. And then put in the password. And then create the user. And then I already created the first HR file. I'm gonna create the file for the intern user now. So for example, in the HR file, that could be like a salary, or it could be people's addresses. And then for the intern file, you have whatever it is that interns do. We're just gonna go in here and edit the permissions to whoever has that. We're gonna select the HR user for that and give that user the permission to be able to read or write within a file. Like they can read the file, they can be able to edit it and add stuff to it. But other users are not gonna be able to do that because they don't have that permission. So we're gonna go ahead and do that for the intern user also. Yep, that's what we're doing here. And then I'm gonna log into the intern user and then try to access something from the HR files. For this demo, the intern user is still gonna be able to access the file, but watch when they try to edit it or add anything else into that file, they're not gonna be able to do that. So I'm gonna try typing, and then at the bottom here, you can see it says that you won't be able to make changes because the permissions is locked. Okay, so that concludes the video. That was a very short video, but that was just going to show that certain users have certain privileges. Like the HR user is going to be able to edit that file, is going to be able to read it, is going to be able to change the name, do whatever that they need to do with that file. But from outside, like outsiders are not going to be able to do those same things because they don't have those permissions. Okay, so that concludes my presentation on Zero Trust. If it's one thing to take away from the presentation, is that Zero Trust is not a single tool that you use. It's a strategy that combines a whole bunch of technologies working together to be able to accomplish the goal of improved security posture for your company, reducing insider threats, and so much more that I covered throughout the presentation. My demos show how you can use role-based access to be able to accomplish Zero Trust. This is a modern thing that a bunch of people are like moving towards, so you're gonna be seeing a lot more of it in the future. And even now, I feel like this is something that's like applied now, so this is definitely relevant to today's security landscape. This is my citation page. I want to say thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope you learned something new today. And yeah.